All right, thanks again for staying with us on the show, TMI. Beautiful Monday morning. Our focus today in the next few minutes will be on the 2023 election, as always, and that's because we need to help to deepen democracy and set the template by way of agenda setting in the conversation and the build-up to the 2023 election. But now, there's this feeling that it is a contestation between the elites and the Talakawas in the 2023 election. I'd like to welcome our panelists here, Dr. Bishop Akalame. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, viewers.
We also have the president of Network of Civil Society Organization, Comrade Ima Ogbedi, with us. Ima, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
Okay, the conversation has it's sort of centered around the fact that 2023 election is like a watershed for this country. I've asked these questions on a number of occasions, and the responses just keep varying, just the same way the different people are responding to the issue. Let me get to take on this, Bishop.
Yeah, the 2023 election is going to be a different political cycle for Nigerians because of what Nigerians have gone through. Like you have said, it's going to be election between the Talakawas and the elites. The Talakawa is a language of the Hausa, which means the poor people, the commoners, the elites, the powerful, the rich, and the inflation. What we have seen over the years, why the 2023 is going to play a very vital role, where the people have to take a decision, or like the way they used to do it, is very simple. The elite have created their world for themselves, leaving the Talakawas in their own wilderness of penury. Today, they have abandoned their hospitals. The Talakawas will go there, no quality doctors to attend to them. There is exodus of our doctors, our medical practitioners from this country to other countries of the world. As we speak right now, in a month, we have nothing less than 150 doctors leaving this country. I look at it. Who go to the hospital within the country? And the Talakawas, the poor, the holo poly. Why the elites, when they have headache, what they do? They travel out of this country to take care of themselves. So in Dukokosu, if you move around the whole country today, you look at our federal roads, they are in deplorable conditions. Who use them? The Talakawas. The elites do not use the road anymore. So they have left the body for the poor masses who ply this road every day. They have the money, they go to the airport, they are traveling to Lagos, traveling to Abuja, they go to the airport and they travel. They don't have experience of the activities of kidnappers and armed robbery on the highway. Today, the children of the Talakawas, they have trained the public schools almost 9 months. The children were home, lecturers were on strike. The government paying less attention. Nothing was going from the elites. Why? Because their children are not even schooling here, they're abroad. During the elections, who votes? The Talakawas. The elite will go to the leaders, those who contesting. They will tell them, I have influence over my people. I'm from Ward 4. They will tell you I'm from Ward 4. Because of my status, I can control them, I can canvass, I can give you the vote you want. They listen to me. They will collect millions for the candidates. They will go there. They will guide the Talakawas. They will buy minerals and biscuits and give them 10,000 at the end of the meeting. They will pocket the millions. After the election, during appointment, the children they said are brought to read in Harvard University, they will bring them back to Nigeria. They will be given commissioners and ministers. Where is the Talakawas? They are still wallowing in abject poverty. Now, they have discovered that they have been used over the years. Do you know what is going to happen now? Come 2023. It's not going to be as business as usual. They have determined, consciously determined, that there's need for us to fix this country. Who are the one facing the issues affecting Nigeria? The Talakawas. Yeah. Our unemployment rate today is 33%. If you look at our inflation rate is 20.95%. Now, a naira to dollar is up, is about 763 naira as it starts today. We cannot longer buy anything. The inflation is something we cannot think about. Then we have people who want to become leaders, who do not understand what the people are passing through. That is why I told you that right now, 2023, the Talakawas will decide to have independent mind. They will be united on common purpose. Look for a candidate that have that kind of affinity with the poor, who understand the pains of the people, and they will cast vote accordingly.
Okay. Comrade, I'd like you to take it off from there.
Yes.
How ready are the Talakawas in this election to change the narratives, maybe give the elites a run for their money this time?
Well, like never before, the masses, the true Nigerians, the people of this great country who believe, excuse me, that Nigeria is truly their home, are now ready than ever before. Why? Because the civil society community has decided to take leadership and become the voice of the people, to mobilize them, to galvanize them, and sensitize them towards the direction of liberating them from hunger, starvation, poverty, and intimidation. Like my brother rightly said, 2023, the people are going to change the narrative of governance and the process of electronic good leadership in Nigeria. 2023 is an election where bullion van cannot decide who becomes the next president, who becomes the next senator, who becomes the next governor, or who becomes the next who is who. Why? Because the people are now wiser than ever. Because this same elite, these same politicians, this same political godfather and who is who has weaponized poverty. They have weaponized illiteracy, and they have weaponized hunger. They've stabbed them for 4 years, waiting to get to the point of election so that they can throw peanuts at them again and they can easily get their vote. But this time we say no. Why? Because education is an army that liberates the mind. We have taken it upon ourselves to engage the people from up front, the market women and the common Nigerians, to sensitize them that it is not about your stomach infrastructure, it is about the future of your family, it's about the future of your children, and about the stability of the economy, and how to make Nigeria a better place. Reason be that the home of the Talakawas, of the commoner, is Nigeria. But the elite, the Nigeria is no longer their homes. Nigeria is not their cemetery. Many of them have their green passport in their pocket. They move out of the country at will. When they want to go for vacation, it is out of the country. They want to go for medical trip, it is out of the country. They want to do anything, it is out of the country. It is only when they die that is when Nigeria becomes their home. So Nigeria is not their cemetery. So, but for those of us who have nowhere to go, for those of us who believe that Nigeria is our farm, Nigeria is our economy, Nigeria is our home, we have decided to take it from their hands and make it a better place. Hence, party will not decide who becomes. The political party you belong will not decide whether you become the next president. No, we have gone past that. Your monies will fail in this election. Influence will fail. There will be nothing like federal might. Why? Because it's an election and it's a year where power will truly be returned to the people, where the people will truly decide who they are. Because I define democracy as a government where the leaders fear the people. But in Nigeria, where we say we practice democracy, we have a government where the people fear the leader, and we are changing that narrative. When the political class have come to the realization that power truly resides with the people, and the people decide who becomes, then they will do the bidding of the people.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you just join us, it's still TMI Monday, looking at some of the issues that are at the front burner in the build-up to the 2023 elections, particularly against the background that, as is always the case, there is this constant continual, consistent fight between the elites on the one hand and the Talakawas on the other hand. If we say over the years, the Talakawas, they've been pauperized. Poverty has become their other names. This is a creation of those who have found themselves in political space, who also constitutes the class we call the elites. How strong enough are the Talakawas to be able to come out of these shackles of poverty, come out of the shackles of where they are today in the lowest rung of the society, to be able to change these narratives?
It is very simple. The elites know what they are doing. That is why they have put everybody into poverty. The businesses that the Talakawas engage themselves with, they don't even get any profit anymore from it. The expenses swallow everything. As I speak with you right now, most of the businesses have collapsed. Because you can imagine when you are doing a business, or maybe you have a capital of 200,000 naira, and you don't even do it maybe where you base, you travel. First of all, transportation will take better part of the money. Then you have to lodge in hotel. Lodging in hotel now is no longer business as usual. Because they will tell you they cannot afford diesel fare, so they have increased rates. You pay. But until you look at all the expenses involved, you discover that after your business, you will not have anything left with you. The Talakawas cannot even eat. Those who do business cannot even eat.
So where would they have the energy to change this narrative?
That is where the anger will be coming from. It is the anger they are taking to the poll. It is this anger of hunger, this anger of pain, this anger of frustration that they will take to defeat. And vote for leaders that will change the narrative. Let me tell you something. The Talakawas are those that vote. The elite you see today, their children they are not even here. That is why you see when ASU is on strike, they don't care. They don't care because their children are not there. They gamble with the future of the children of the Talakawas because they know that the only way you can empower a man is through education. So what they do, they will send their children out of this country. Even their wives, they are all alone. Just pay a visit to any of them. You see them all alone. They are lonely. But the only thing I have said is that when everybody is suffering in the country, the security of this elite is not guaranteed. Because a time will come, even in the daytime like this, robbery will be going on, nobody will be able to help out. Because these people will soon bring in their anger, frustration, because there's no food in the stomach. So 2018 election is going to be a kind of revolution. Not a revolution where people have to carry a gun. A revolution that will result from hunger. A revolution that will result from this pain that people have gone through. A revolution that will emanate for the inflation we're having today in Nigeria. A revolution that will emanate from the unemployment. You see what is happening? The Talakawas they will go to a farm, they assemble their money, they send their children to school, they pay their school fees, they buy their textbooks out of frustration, pains, with the hope that when they graduate, the children will see the truth. The children will not graduate after a course that will have taken them 4 years. We first of all take them 10 years. After the 10 years, they will not come out, no jobs for them.
They become burden to the families.
The same parents who saw them to school will not rent house for them again, start feeding them all over again. And then on the day, you see parents will even die without even recouping or getting their return on investment for their children. Why? Because we have a fake government. Digo Kosu, I have never seen a stubborn government as stubborn as the APC federal administration in the history of democracy.
How do you define a stubborn government? What's the definition?
Very stubborn.
How do you substantiate
Let me
that?
tell you something. Even the time of PDP, when people were saying these people are not doing well, you are in this country, that if people go to the road for protest, the government will respond immediately. When a body go on strike, the government will engage them and ensure that that issue is resolved. And if all this is not put into cognizance, when we are in the period of election like this, The government has to make sure that every issue that will put anger in the mind of the people is resolved. But this one, you can imagine the election. As we went on strike 8 months, they don't even care.
Because they told you they don't have the resources.
They don't have the resources?
Yes, they don't have the resources.
When our money,
when our money interfaces with the global economy.
No. I don't agree with you. We have the money. Nigeria is the most blessed country in Africa. The problem we have is bad management. We don't have good managers of our resources. The money is there. Look at our budget. Accommodated frivolities, insignificant things, at the detriment of things that will lift that will have the progress and the prosperity of this country. Allowances for senators, allowances for House of Representatives. You see bogus figure without come to education. What is the percentage? What is the percentage of the whole budget to education? My emphasis is that this government, this is a government I've never explained before, and we don't want to have a taste or have an experience of this kind of government again.
All right, let me push you there, Dr. Bishop Akalame. Comrade Ima,
yes.
In a state where the people are already pauperized, what is now the immunity against vote buying, knowing fully well that our election is fraught with this malaise?
Now, let me quickly, before I go to your question, let me quickly add briefly. Now, the people are more ready than ever before in terms of taking their destiny by their hand and rescuing our country, Nigeria, from the hands of the legislators and the hands of failed governors. Like never before, we have seen the people, the commoners, the ordinary Nigerians coming out and using their resources to sponsor and fuel and promote political activities. Nigerians has never been interested. Before, when you go to the street and you engage a youth, an ordinary Nigerian, maybe even in the market, you say, do you have PBC? You go vote. You say, what are the votes? What I want to use votes do? But now, they were the ones who were mobilizing INEC and INEC officials in a particular location and mobilizing their fellow youths to go and register and vote. And we want to use this medium to also encourage them to do same, to use that same zeal to collect their PVC in preparation for 2023. A wise man said, never a time where freedom has been given to the oppressed freely by the oppressor. It is the oppressed that demand for their liberation. Nigerians has come to the reality. Before now, what was lacking was a coordinated and organized leadership for this very class of people. They were never organized. But now, the civil society community have decided to take the lead by galvanizing them, by organizing them, sensitizing them, and mobilizing them towards a particular direction. There is no more vote your conscience. Before we tell them vote your conscience, and many of them are confused the more which one be conscience and which one be the better person. Now we are engaging the system, we are taking them through the mills, and we will tell them vote in this direction. This is the direction to liberate Nigeria. We will tell them we are not going to sit on the fence. No, it is that's in the past. Now back to your question, the Duke, sir. You see, vote buying is one of the backbone of the elites. When they stab you for 4 years, they stash the cash and throw it to you as peanuts, 2,000 and 5,000 on election day, so that they also pulverize you and also take over your conscience and rule you for another 4 to 8 years. But you know what? The people have been sensitized. You see, any money you find in the field on election day belongs to Nigerians. Does not belong to the elites. Does not belong to the elites, sir. Those money are your monies that were supposed to be used to build roads, and they were not built. Those money are your money that were supposed to put drugs and employ more doctors in our hospitals that were not employed. Those monies are money that were supposed to give us stability in our power sectors, and we are paying for darkness in Nigeria. So when they bring that money that very day, if your community cannot organize yourself, since the security agencies has failed to stop that money from the top to get to the election ground, when it gets to the election ground, the voters should collect that money, seize the money, and also vote your conscience. When you cannot seize the money because you don't know where it is, where the distribution is going on, we have told them, collect the money and vote your conscience. That is on one aspect on the field. Then on the other aspect, we want to task the security agencies that are saddled with the responsibility of fighting economic crime. Now, for example, how does this money for vote buying get to the various units? Days to election, money leaves State House from the federal and hits their various states or their various campaign directors at the state level. And that money from the state moves to the local government. Where is our intelligence? Where is the EFCC? That money will move from the local government to the various ward. And you are not following, you are not tracking that money. Then on election day, when that money is already in the units, you want to arrest a common Nigerian who has 2,000 naira in his hand. That's failure. That's failure and compromised. Very recently, we saw in the various political primaries of various parties, we saw dollars exchanging hands. And there is nobody prosecuted to date as to where that money came from and who collected what. So, let no man deceive us. If the security agency cannot track the money from the top, the people will seize the money on the field. Okay. We will seize it, and that money will not work for them. The money that day cannot reflect the vote, but the conscience and the zeal and the will of Nigerians will reflect the vote of 2023 election by the grace of God.
All right. Bishop, there's a policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria, which, you know, some of the officials of CBN, they've come out to say the reason for that policy is to tackle these funds that have been stashed out there by politicians from getting access into the field, from getting access into the election ground, is to check insecurity and all of that. Does that resonate with you?
You see, most times, at times I look at the governor of Central Bank. I look at him. I did a background check on him. This man is supposed to be an economist. He's supposed to understand the dynamics of the economy. So most times, some of the policies he come up with don't go down well with me at all. Redesign our notes at this point is needless. It's needless. And the excuse they gave is still relevant. The area they are talking about, they said they want to take their money. First of all, now, look at what they're going to do. They can convert this money to dollars. The money will still be at home. And if they choose not to even convert it into dollars and send it back to the banks, this elite will not go to the bank. They will take their phone and call the bank manager. Please, bring some amount of money to me in the house. And the money will be delivered. You see, what I'm saying here is that it's a miscarriage of policy. Most of them just sit down and think about a policy that they feel will benefit them. Nigerians want to bring out something that will trigger corruption. Because whether you like it or not, a lot of money will be released to be spent to redesign this note and print more notes. And then somebody will siphon part of the money. Corruption. So what the CBN governor is trying to promote is corruption. That is not what we need now. What we need now is how to strengthen our currency, our notes, our naira, to be very strong, having a kind of strong competition with dollars and other currencies.
How feasible is that when we are not producing? We import everything, even up to toothpicks and what have you.
That is where we have failed. Who are responsible? The same elites If they want to send their children to school, they'll send them abroad. So taking your children abroad, and you are here as a father, you need money to pay the school fees, is it not? You are not selling naira then, is it not? You have to convert naira to dollars before you can send the money for school fees. You are going for medical checkup. You travel abroad. You don't need the naira to do that. You need to convert naira into what? The dollars before you can go there. If they want to hold political meeting, they don't do it here. They have to convert naira into dollars and travel. See, if you look at it, there's a particular law in economics which is called the law of demand. See, the pleasure of the dollar is what is making naira, the value of naira worthless. Yeah. So if most of the things we are going there to do, we do them here. What's the earliest that have decided not to be sent their children out of this country? Take them to our public universities. The naira will appreciate the value. If the early decide to invest in our health sector, buy medical equipment, medical infrastructures, I ensure that the welfare of our medical practitioners are improved upon. I believe they will not travel out of this country anytime they have what headache. They will go to the same hospital to treat themselves. So by so doing, the pressure on dollars will reduce. And once you reduce, our naira will appreciate in value. And I'm surprised that this government, I don't know if they don't have economic team that can think out of the box and what suggest to the government on the need to make our naira very strong by putting all these things into practice. Not by changing the design, or maybe the design of our currency. Because money will be needed. I think trillions of naira will be what is needed to redesign those currencies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people will take the money. They will steal the money. It has become part of our lives. It has become a culture and tradition in Nigeria. That Nigerians want to promote, they need activities that will trigger corruption. And one of it is the design of what our naira notes. It will not hold. Like people like us, and I believe people who have the same.
Mr. President has already given his backing.
Giving his backing does not mean, see, that's what they call public opinion. That's why we say that we are not even democracy. You're not democracy. This is not democracy. Democracy, the minority, we have their say, but majority have their way. Public opinion. When people begin to talk, Mr. President will backbend that.
Okay, Ima, take it off from there.
Yes, yeah. You see, to me, I've never seen a clueless government, federal government, as such as we are experiencing in this country, Nigeria, today.
How do you say, I mean, the government is clueless when they are bringing in policies here and there just to help to salvage the situation, Comrade Ima?
Very good. Now, you see, first of all, let's start from the announcement of the reprinting of Naira. The CBN governor came out and he announced several dates as to how the monetary policy is about to change and how the printing of Naira. Just at the 11th hour of the expiration of a new administration. Mind you, towards the end of towards a transition period, there is already a policy somersault. The macroeconomic, there is jittering. Investors are jittering. People are already trying to look at what will be next, what happens next. Yeah. If this government or if the party in power does not return, what happened to the policies that is already on ground? So your currency already have some level of disadvantage. Now you have brought out a policy at the eve of the expiration of a new of this government, and a lot of money is going to be needed to engage that contract of reprinting. That is one. Who pays those debts? Definitely we all know that there was no budget for reprinting or whatsoever in 2022 budget allocation. Who are you leaving that expense for? That is on one hand. Then two, a policy as strong and as huge as such was enacted. You got the approval of Mr. President in quote. The finance minister of this country, who was bold enough or courageous enough or opposing enough, because they've not told us the drama that is happening there, came out to say she is not aware of this policy. And you said you've gotten an approval from the president. You know, it is only in this government that we've come to see a definition of presidency and Mr. President. So the CBN governor, even Mr. President have not told us the date, whether he approved that from for the CBN. And we've not seen that approval. But let me tell you, for there to be an argument or for them to be on different page, it means something is actually fishing as regards this new policy that is coming out in the 11th hour. And that is why we say, in the political build-up of 2023, we don't want politicians to be telling us what they want to do. They should tell us how they want to do it and when. At what time in your administration with ACOM and BCOM. You won't give us an employment like what we saw in a state somewhere in the West, where somebody has employed over thousands at the eve of the expiration of his tenure.
These are political appointments anyway.
Now, good. These are what we are saying. Employment into service, into civil service. Are you getting it? Now, this calls to show that there's huge gap in the economic knowledge of this administration. That is very, very clear. And we must take it as that. My brother, like, from what we saw the central bank governor said, the money has been, the contract has been awarded, it has been approved, and circulation will start. They were not consulting Nigerians. They were telling Nigerians what they have done, and the money will hit circulation just in less than a month, okay, or 2 weeks from now. Okay. What that suggests to us, sir, I told people, I said good governance is pre-election matter. It is before election, you vote in a candidate that can listen to the people, that can engage the people on participatory governance. In terms of participatory governance in Nigeria right now, the APC federal government has failed. They don't consult Nigerians. They are not interested in whatever the outcome of any policy is to the common Nigerian, but they want to bring out any policy for to make loopholes for the elites to also benefit. Who has the contract of the reprinting of the Naira? Where was that contract? What was the procurement process? What was there due process to it? When did this start? And who is the person? So we need to start asking questions. Okay. That is why we will not get it wrong in 2023. Sir.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the thoughts and views canvassed. Bishop Dr. Bishop Akala. When people hear that, they think like we have Bishop, Chief, blah, 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 blah. They don't know that Bishop is actually your first name. Akalame is your surname. Thank you so much for the views canvassed. Really appreciate your presence.
Thank you very
Comedy
much.
Man, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
It's still TMI. We'll take a short break. Solomon, I know, will be here on Breakfast Sports before we call it a wrap on the show today. Don't go away.